A 23-year-old woman was murdered in a vicious attack on a North Carolina train. And the background of the alleged murderer is causing a fury. On August 22nd, 23-year-old Iryna Zaruska, who escaped the war in Ukraine by moving to the U.S., was on her way home from a shift at a pizzeria when she was stabbed to death on the train. The suspect is Decarlos Brown Jr. Video surveillance released by police shows the moment Zaruska gets on the train and sits down in front of Brown, who pulls out a pocket knife and jumped out of his seat. The video stops just as he is about to lunge and stab her. Surveillance then shows Brown getting off the train with blood dripping from his pocket knife, and passengers, they appear oblivious to this whole situation. Brown was then taken to the hospital for his non-life-threatening injuries, and a week later was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. And immediately, a GoFundMe for him is posted with a $35,000 goal asking for help with his legal fees. While what happened on the Blue Line was a tragedy, what we mustn't lose sight of is the fact that Decarlos Brown Jr. was failed categorically by the judicial system and the mental health services of North Carolina, and as such is not entirely to blame for what happened. GoFundMe only took the fundraiser down after the internet erupted with backlash and said in a statement, GoFundMe's terms of service explicitly prohibit fundraisers that raise money for the legal defense of anyone formerly charged with an alleged violent crime. Now, after the attack, records from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department show Brown, who is homeless, had at least 14 prior arrests dating back to 2011. These charges include felony larceny, physically assaulting his sister, and armed robbery. In January, he was charged with misusing the 911 system after he called 911 in the middle of police conducting a welfare check, claiming a man-made material inside his body was controlling him. During this encounter, he's diagnosed with schizophrenia. Court records show in January, Judge Teresa Stokes granted the release of Brown based upon a written promise that he'd return for his court hearing. Although this murder occurred nearly 3 weeks ago, the release of the surveillance video sparked conversation on social media. People were quick to criticize the lack of coverage of the gruesome murder by politicians and mainstream outlets. Charlotte's Mayor V. Lyles even thanked community members and media partners for choosing, quote, not to repost or share footage out of respect for Iryna's family, and said she's committed to protecting residents and keeping the city safe. But for many, not acknowledging this murder at all spoke volumes, with many demanding accountability of repeat offenders. Donald Trump Jr. shared a post with a picture of the New York Times search bar having no results for Iryna Zaruska. He wrote, strangely, all of the clowns with Ukraine flags in their bio are also all silent on this one. Elon Musk even weighed in, saying it's time for major legal reforms and more transparency around the decisions made by judges and prosecutors. He wrote, let's change the law. Between now and then, name and shame the DAs and judges who enable murder, rape, and robbery. But especially shame those who funded the campaigns of the DAs and judges. That will make the biggest difference. North Carolina Congressman Randy Fine also called for accountability, writing, I'm going to introduce legislation to hold judges accountable when violent repeat offenders they release commit new crimes. It's easy to release criminals when you're protected by an armed bailiff at all times. The rest of us aren't so lucky. Those 12-plus judges that released Decarlos Brown Jr. should have their day in court too. And North Carolina Representative Brendan Jones wrote, the tragedy of Iryna Zaruska's death in Charlotte is the result of decades of Democrat DAs and sheriffs putting their woke agendas above public safety. Violent criminals commit crimes with impunity, while families live in fear. Here's what the president had to say about all of this on Monday.
I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed this morning or last night in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic. Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country.